Holding your investments for one single day longer might make the difference between you paying a 15% tax rate versus a 35% tax. What is the difference, you might ask? Well, it all boils down to the definition of capital gains. Hi y'all, my name is Nathan Mohan. I used to help companies allocate their finances, and during my time, I quickly learned that while there's a lot of people who know how to advise companies on how to allocate their finances, they're probably a little bit less savvy with their own personal finances. For any investment, whether it be a stock, bond, real estate, cryptocurrency, that you hold for longer than 1 year and then sell, you actually put any sort of gain from that investment into a different type of tax, namely the capital gains tax. Capital gains taxes tend to be much lower than ordinary tax rates, with the capital gains tax going from 0% to 15% to 20% brackets, which compares very favorably to the maximum tax rate that you see on ordinary income, which is the income that you receive for something like a job, at 37%. If you hold an investment for shorter than a year, the government considers that to be short-term capital gains. And because of that, it pushes any sort of gain that you made on an investment that you held for less than a year into ordinary income, and you don't get that special capital gains tax rate. Now, the way long-term capital gains tax brackets work is actually pretty interesting. Say, for example, you're working at a job and you make $60,000 of ordinary income, and you've also made $10,000 off of selling a stock that you've had for the past couple years. Now, when you go to file your taxes, you have $60,000 of ordinary income and $10,000 of capital gains or investment income. You combine that ends up being $70,000 of gross income. When you start looking at the capital gains tax brackets, however, you might look and say, hey, I actually don't think my investment gains fall into any of the top tax brackets or even the middle tax bracket here. So they're probably taxed at 0% because my $10,000 that I made from investment is less than the $48,350 that would push me into the 15% capital gains tax bracket. But that actually wouldn't be the reality. How your capital gains tax bracket is established is they take your ordinary income, or basically everything else that's not capital gains. So in this case, you made $60,000, and then they start stacking on top of that your investment income or your capital gains income. So your capital gains are going to be taxed as if they started at $60,001 all the way up to $70,000. This would put you pretty firmly within the middle capital gains tax bracket of 15%. Of course, this is all assuming that you are single like me. These tax brackets look a little bit different depending on your filing status, so if you're head of household or if you're married. That being said, y'all, super short video here, so I'll catch you next time.